Hello hearties, so today I want to talk to you about what can go wrong in your sales conversations, or more specifically, the difference between the things that I find that small business owners worry that will go wrong compared to the things that I feel we should be more concerned about going wrong. So when I'm talking to small business owners or clients within my programs, I know that a lot of them have a lot of fear of entering into sales conversations, particularly if they're not used to having a lot of regular sales conversations. And the sorts of things that people tend to worry about in those very early days are things like, what if the client says no? How will I deal with that rejection? I had one client who actually confessed that she was so afraid of getting a no because she feared that if she got a no, that rejection would be so crippling for her that she would never feel brave enough to have a sales conversation ever again. And so it stopped her from entering into that conversation in the first place. Another fear, a common fear, is that the potential client will think that you're salesy or pushy. Another is that the potential client will think that you're just interested in their money, or that you are in some other way motivated by your own personal gain. There's also a lot of fear of, what if I say something wrong? What if I accidentally put the client off? Or even what if I accidentally say something to upset the client? Out of all of those, I find that the most common fears are the fear of rejection and also the fear of coming across as pushy. And it can really stop small business owners in their tracks. And perhaps that's something that you can actually relate to. It's what I guess I'd call the whole self-consciousness about the sales conversation itself. And the reason that I call it the self-consciousness is that worrying about these sorts of things tends to put you quite internally focused. You're quite it gives you an internal focus and a sort of self-consciousness about the things that you're going to say, the things you're going to do. Are you going to do it right? Are you going to get something wrong? How is this relative stranger going to perceive you? What are they going to think about you? And all of that sort of mind chatter that goes on. But if you stop to think about it, what are the things that really can go wrong in a sales conversation? I would say that actually it's a different set of things altogether. I'd say that the things that can really go wrong in a sales conversation are things like the potential client really needs help in a particular area of their life or their business, and they don't get that help or make that change because you failed to clearly communicate and articulate the way that you can help, the value of the work you do, and how they can benefit from it. Or maybe they would really benefit from your help, but they don't get that help because you missed out on an important step in the sales process. And sometimes it can be just one question that you could ask that makes all of the difference. Or it could be that the client was close to going ahead, but they had some concerns, and you could have cleared up these concerns if you'd only asked them about them directly. Or maybe you did ask them directly about their concerns, but then you shied away from fully addressing or exploring those concerns. Maybe not clearly asking the client for a decision. So they go away at the end of the conversation feeling confused and uncertain, and both of you just feel energetically a little bit off because you don't quite know where this is all leading. Or similarly, you don't agree a follow-up process, and so neither of you feel clear about what's happening next, and both of you feel that you're left hanging a little bit. And so what I'm getting at with that list is that in each of those cases, what it boils down to for me is your sales conversation has gone wrong if there is somebody who could really benefit from the service that you offer, from making a big change to an area of their life, whether that's their business, their career, their relationships, or their health, but they decided not to make that change, or they didn't make a decision at all because you didn't connect in with them deeply and guide them through a supportive sales conversation. So what can go wrong is the potential client not getting the help that I know because, from speaking to people just like you over the years, the help that I know you feel so passionate about actually giving them. So why does this happen? Why do so many sales conversations go wrong in this way, leaving both parties feeling dissatisfied, leaving people who really need help not getting the support they need, and leaving small business owners like you struggling because you feel you don't have enough clients, because, that's the end result of a sales conversation that isn't effective. And very often the reason for this can be exactly because of the over worrying and over focus of those things that I talked about at the beginning of this video. That internal focus on yourself and your own anxieties and your own mind chatter versus your external focus on the client, or in other words, what I call your heart-centered focus. Because when you're worrying about things like, what if they say no? I don't know how I'll ever pick myself up again. What if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about? What if they think I'm just after their money? What if I don't say the right thing? When you're thinking those thoughts, all of your focus is internal, focused on yourself, focused on what you're doing. Compare this to when you come to the conversation with your focus fully on the client, with an open heart, with a commitment and an intention to get to the bottom of whatever problem they're struggling with, or whatever big dream or vision it is that they want to achieve, and with a curiosity about what might be getting in their way and whether you can help them, and having a sales process to guide you in that conversation. So coming to the conversation with a full focus on what's best for the client. And what happens is that instead of having a focus that is internal and contracted with a fearful energy, you're coming to that conversation with your focus being external, being heart-led, and the energy of that conversation will feel very expanded and very full of possibility. And instead, the conversation in your head is something like, let me tune in to what is in the best interest of this person who I'm talking to right now. Or how can I most serve this person? What's the absolute best outcome for them? And asking yourself, do I believe it's worth the time and investment it's going to take for them to make this change? And do I truly believe that I am the best person to help them with this? And when you come to it from this external focus, this more heart-centered focus on the client, this allows you to have a conversation that comes from service, instead of being focused on the sense that there's a set of right and wrong things that you can do and say. It also allows you to trust your intuition more in that moment, so that you just know the perfect thing to say to that client next because you are so tuned into them. It also allows you to ask much deeper and much braver questions than you otherwise would, and to be unafraid of going there, to explore issues that they might not otherwise feel comfortable talking about, but that you need to address if they're going to go ahead and work with you. And because the sense of connection is so strong, and because the client can tell that you're asking these questions and saying these things because you genuinely care and you genuinely want what's best for them, it changes the whole tone of that conversation, and they're so much more likely to open up to you about these things that they otherwise may not be. And, so the question, of course, is what stops you? Because I know that when I put it like that, the way I've just put it, I know it makes absolute sense. And I also know that in the very moment of the sales conversation, or in the minutes leading up to it, very often, many of you are not in that external heart-centered focus. You're in your internal fear-centered focus instead. And the main reasons for this are all of those conversations that are going on in your head about getting it wrong, fear of rejection, saying the wrong thing, what if they think you're pushy, what if they think you're just after their money. All of the things you're telling yourself about what a sales conversation should and shouldn't be. And the biggest of these myths, while I'm talking about it, is the myth that you have to close the sale. There's a lot of mind chatter sometimes around the idea that somehow you're responsible for making this person make a decision, and that if you don't, you somehow failed in that sales conversation, which actually, when you think about it, is just ridiculous, isn't it? Because when you think about it, working with you is not, it couldn't possibly be the case that working with you is absolutely right now for every single client you have a conversation with. And not everyone who inquires with you is going to be the right sort of client for you either. So you're not going to be able to close the sale every time. So, you know, that's one example of the mind chatter that I would really love to encourage you to let go. So what's the solution or the cure for this? Well, my advice to you would be next time you know that you're about to enter into a sales conversation, maybe you've got one booked into your diary in the next 15 or 20 minutes, take a few moments beforehand, take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to take that time, because it's really worth taking the time to take the action you need to take to get yourself into a more expanded, outward focused state and move yourself away from that more contracted, fear-based state. Now, this is going to be different for different people. For me, I used to meditate. I say used to because I less and less. I find that as time goes on, I'm needing to do this type of work less and less. But for me, it would be meditating, where I focus on my connection to a higher source, and I trust that higher power, and I ask that higher power for guidance, and for that higher power to know what's the best outcome for me and for the client. If that's not your thing, it may be that you pick up the phone to a friend and you have a high energy chat for 5 or 10 minutes to really lift your spirits. But of course, be careful that you pick the right sort of friend for that. And it might be just putting on some really upbeat music and just dancing like crazy around your living room or your office until you can feel that your energy is lifted and is expanded. And, you know, I know that what you'll find as a result is that you will enjoy that sales conversation so much more yourself. And if you do, you will be so much more effective. And if you're enjoying it, your client is more likely to be relaxed and enjoy it too. It's going to feel so much more like serving than trying to persuade somebody to do something. You're going to feel far more able to trust yourself in the moment, to know the right thing to say, or to know exactly what that client needs to hear from you right now. And the client will also feel this much deeper sense of connection, which means that they will trust you more. And because they trust you more, they will allow you to have a much more searching conversation and really explore what's going on for them and really get to the heart of, you know, what's going on under the surface. And that you need to know, and they need to be able to talk about if you're thinking about working together. And ultimately, you know, the client's going to have a positive experience. So even if for a myriad of different reasons that may be entirely unrelated to your skill at having sales conversations, they may decide not to work with you anyway. But if they do decide not to work with you, they will be so much more likely to refer others to you or to come back to you when the time is right for them, because they had a positive and supportive and even a healing experience in this sales conversation with you. So, you know, I'd love to hear from you. You know, has this helped? Can you see how shifting into this more expanded, heart-centered energy is going to help you in your sales conversations? And let me know how you get on. You know, what will you start to do to lift your energy and move you into this different space? And type in and let me know how you get on. How does it feel? Is your sales conversation more effective? What are the results you start to see as a result? So I'll leave you with that. Do share in the comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you soon for the next video. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.